Senator, Mr. Eric Schmitt. Mr. Schmitt, welcome, sir, as always. I'm not going to ask you about stocks and profits and all the rest of that, although feel free if you have a strong opinion. But what I am interested in, among other things, what is Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, not Democratic standard bearer, but President Joe Biden, what's he going to say tonight? And what exactly do you think happened making him step down after denial, 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 denial?
Well, I think it's important to put this speech or whatever he's doing, this address tonight, in context. Larry, we're about 5 weeks removed from the White House claiming that the videos of Joe Biden looking lost were cheap fakes. Now, that feels like 1,000 years ago, but it's like a month and a half ago. And I think what the debate proved, it showed in prime time what everybody knew that the mainstream media was covering up, was that this guy isn't capable, right? And so I think they got to him because they don't think he can win. That's the only thing that changed here. Everybody knew that we're having these issues, but they knew he was going to lose to Trump. And so the Democrats then decided, I guess, to disenfranchise tens of millions of voters, to install the elites, to install their selected candidate, which is totally bizarre. But if he had any honor at all, he would resign tonight. But he won't. He won't resign. He should. But if he's not capable of being a candidate, he's not capable of being president, which is why I've called this week, Larry, for the 25th Amendment to be invoked by the cabinet.
Well, that leads me to two related questions. Okay. Number one, some people are speculating in the media and so forth that the bigwigs in the Democratic Party, I guess Barack Obama on down, but I'll just call them bigwigs because I don't know much about the Democratic Party anymore. I haven't been a Democrat in over half a century. But they're saying that Mr. Biden was bullied, that if he didn't step down, they were going to somehow push the 25th Amendment to get rid of him altogether, to just dump him altogether. You put any credence in that?
It's possible. I wouldn't put anything past them because the only thing that the Democrats, they're setting guiding principle is power and control. It's certainly not about a democratic process. It's certainly not about not trying to put your chief political opponent in jail for the rest of his life. It's certainly not, they don't have any problems with censoring Americans they disagree with. So they're willing to bulldoze all the rules, all the norms, everything to win. And so when they finally came to the conclusion that Biden couldn't win, they tried to push him out and they were successful. But I think something like that had to have happened, Larry, because after that NATO summit just a few weeks ago, he was defiant. Nothing changed. Right. Nothing changed between now and then. So I think they had to, made a real run at him to step aside. The
other sort of semi-bizarre thing in this whole story is, so now the last day or two, as this dirty deed is done, you have Ms. Kamala Harris and all the bigwig Democrats, aforementioned, praising Joe Biden as the greatest president since George Washington, perhaps even exceeding the presidency of George Washington. So my thought is, being a simple-minded kind of guy, if he was such a good president, why aren't you running him again?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, look, the fact is he is the worst president this side of Woodrow Wilson. There's no doubt about that. But he was committed to running. He wanted to run against President Trump one more time. He was going to lose. And like I said, the Democrats have their convention. They wanted to make a move. But look, they're putting Kamala Harris into this role now. And I liken it to sort of a football analogy. Everybody kind of likes the backup quarterback until the backup quarterback gets into the game. And you realize there's a reason why that's not the starting quarterback. There's holes in the game. She's going to be exposed in a way she hasn't been since that primary, where she, had to bow out very early. And she'll be exposed. She's the border czar. We've got 10 million people here illegally. She's for the Green New Deal. That displaces blue-collar workers. So once people start to examine her record, I think she's going to be problematic for them. But right now, it's their only thing they can do. And but Trump, I think, fares well against her as well.
I mean, just a moment on the border czar issue, because that is such a hot topic. Open borders, the crime wave that's gone along with the open borders, the lack of public safety, it becomes a national issue. I know with the economy and inflation, but just on the border, I don't see how she can possibly defend First of all, the Biden position on open borders, as you say, 10 million with all the attendant crime, fentanyl, drugs, and so forth and so on. But she herself, if anything, is more radical. She never talked to any of the Border Patrol chiefs. She has always defended and wants to provide financial assistance to the illegal immigrants coming across the border. And I would just add to that, way back in 2020, when we had to go through those awful riots in various cities during the COVID year, she was a defund the police person. Now, how are they going to get around that? How are they going to get around that? As you say, the backup quarterback is now in play. It's 3rd down and 12. How are they going to deal with that?
Yeah, and here comes the blitz, and she doesn't know how to check down. She doesn't have that in the playbook, right? She's in real trouble because when she's exposed for who she is, she's totally out of step with real America, Larry. She was the most liberal senator, more liberal than Bernie Sanders during her time in the Senate. She called for eliminating all criminal violations at all if you come here illegally. She wanted them to be civil violations. She is full-blown open borders and amnesty. She is full-blown defund the police. She talks about reimagining policing, talking about taking money away from police departments. Once this stuff comes out, the honeymoon's going to last for however long it's going to last. Once we get past Labor Day, Larry, and the campaign is in full swing, the people are going to have a choice, right? They're going to have a choice between when they were prosperous, when they were safe, we had a secure border, versus the most radical nominee any party has ever had in the history of this country, and that'll be the choice.
Yeah, yes, sir. Senator Eric Schmitt, thank you, sir. As always, we appreciate it.
Thanks, Larry.
All right.